Well, hello, everyone here at Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. Welcome, welcome once again to our digital space this morning. My name is James Harper. It's been way too long. It's so good to see you all. Excited to do service with you this morning. Let's get right into it, shall we? Staring at a maple leaf, leaning on another tree, I said to myself, we all lost touch. Favorite fruit is chocolate-covered cherries and seedless watermelon. Oh, nothing from the ground is good enough. Your body rise, endless over me, oh chariot. Your golden wings are walking down upon this place, oh chariot. I'm singing out loud to guide me, give me your strength. Remember seeing moons traverse, rings made mirrors of the earth. The sun was just yellow energy. Even over fields of sand, there is a living promised land. The seasons fill my burden, cover me, bring me back under the memory, oh chariot. Your golden wings are walking down upon this place, oh chariot. I'm singing out loud to guide me, give me your strength. You'll be my vacation away from this place. You know what I want. Holding that cup that's pouring over this side. Make me wanna spread my arms and fly, oh chariot. Your golden wings are walking down upon this place, oh chariot. I'm singing out loud to guide me, give me your strength. Oh, give me your strength. Give me your strength.
Give me your strength. Good morning, Donald James Harper.
Good morning, Dr. Reverend Keith.
How are you this AM?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. It's so good to see you and to have you join us today. It's been way too long.
It really has. Good to be back amongst the fray.
Yes, exactly. It's like the prodigal son has returned home. Well, I know that you've been out doing work and enjoying yourself and spreading the love and being with your loved ones and so I'm so happy that you're back with us today, shining your light.
Me as well. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Well, it's just so beautiful to always have you both physically in presence as well as through our digital space, as you said. So it's a
Agreed.
wonderful experience to have you. I hope you're staying cool wherever you are.
You as well. It's hot out there,
I
man.
think you're in the valley, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
Valley of
burning.
Los Angeles. Well, good. Well, good. We'll see you in a bit.
Sounds good.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles, and welcome, as James said, to our digital space. It is Sunday morning, July 16th, I believe it is, if you're joining us live through Zoom and or through YouTube. And we honor you for being in a space and place today, in this very moment, to open up to honoring the divine that is within you. We come together for just that purpose, to honor the divine within each and every one of us and to acknowledge the power and the presence of the divine that exists within all of us. To take time, if you will, today's message is going to be a bit about time, to live in the present moment to the best of our ability and to tune into the power of the divine that exists within each and every one of us. And so I honor you and I welcome you wherever you may be joining us from today, and trusting and hoping that wherever you are physically in the world today, that you are safe and secure and have the ability to stay cool. I'm joining us from West Hollywood, California, or Los Angeles, California, where it is quite warm, as it is in many places the US of A right now, which seems to be indicative of change that's taking place in our physical world today. And so thank God we have technology and that we have the ability to cool ourselves, and the luxury that that is. Let's all take a moment to honor and acknowledge that and appreciate it. And so I invite you to sit back, stay cool, tune in, open up, be receptive, and let spirit express itself by means of those of us, James and I, in our service today, and with the intention that there is something that is revealed to us and through us, individually and collectively, that empowers us to know who we are as a divine being, and as a result of that, be willing to change our thinking and ultimately change our life. So I'm going to put on the screen our welcoming slides for the morning, and pop that right there. And want you to know that we welcome you and honor you just as you are today, in the perfect place, the perfect time, and the perfect space. Our vision statement for our community is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Let's hear that again, as if it's both the first time and knowing that it's not for many of us, that it's building upon all the other times we've heard it. We as a community support individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. That's an evolutionary process. It's one that comes to us as we tune into that power that exists within us. And I say tune in because in our philosophy, faith, and way of life, it's known to be the universal infinite mind of the divine, the thing itself, the omniscient, omnipresent mind itself that places a stamp of individuality upon itself, you and me, and calls it itself. And so the very thing it is expressing itself by means of you and by means of me. For that purpose, we like to step into an act that is not a new concept, but one that we love to use and has been used throughout millennia in our world, of honoring that power within each and every one of us. In its most simple format, it's called namaste. Namaste is a Sanskrit word that in its literal translation means I bow to thee. In its modern incarnation, it means that the power within me honors and acknowledges that within you. It's by placing our hands together on our heart, or our heart chakra, if you will, that we tune in to this vibratory energy that we call God, and surrender to it and feel its presence, and then honor and acknowledge that in all other sentient beings. It's exist within all expressions of life, no matter who, what, how they express themselves, and the uniqueness that Spirit has placed upon them as a stamp of individuality. So I invite us all to take a deep breath in, place our hands together in prayer position, placing it on our heart, as you can see the beating heart of my emoticon there on the screen, and bow forward as it shows us in many of the animated graphics, and say together, Namaste. I bow to thee. The power, the divine, the thing itself within me honors and acknowledges the power, the divine, the thing itself in you. As a community, we come together and welcome all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all genders, and all abilities. In other words, we honor each and every one of the stamps of individuality that Spirit has expressed itself as. We state that we stand with you when we're in person, literally, literally, and when we're not, metaphorically. Having the ability to imagine and envision standing shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart, being to being. And so let's affirm together. From this state of awareness, we welcome one and we welcome all. As a community, we come together to teach primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. The science of mind is a compilation of all the great spiritual teachings of the universe and coming together by Dr. Ernest Holmes at the end of the 19th century, and began to put this in a written form that is then published and called the Science of Mind. The Science of Mind is a text. It's a text that provides you and I the opportunity to remember who we are as divine beings, to practice being mentally aware and in tune with that which we are, and then understand that our role in the journey of our life is to do everything within our power to eliminate anything and everything that isn't reflective of the qualities of the divine that we're imbued with. In our philosophy, faith, and way of life, we look at these qualities to include but not be limited by peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. Imagine living our lives to the best of our ability focused on these qualities. And because we live in a universe that is governed by spiritual law, the very essence of who we know ourselves to be and act in accordance with is reflected back to us in the field of experience, if you will. Which is why our vision statement of supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening is so appropriate for practicing this teaching, this way of life. Because we're all on a journey of awakening to our spiritual nature, and in so doing, becoming more and more empowered to express ourselves as individualized expressions of the only thing there is. By honoring the qualities that are within us. We like to open our service even further with a ritual called calling in the light. The exact ritual that we'll use this morning honors those qualities that exist within us. I like to remind myself and invite you all to remind yourself of what they mean in this philosophy, faith, and way of life. And so today we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a more conscious awareness. Let's take that statement in again, a more conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. And so we light this virtual candle that we see on the screen for the quality of peace. In this way, we're honoring the inherent divine state of inner calm that exists within us regardless of any chaos unfolding around or within us, the individualizations of the divine. We also light this virtual candle for the quality of power. It's the power we acknowledge, which is the energy by which everything lives. Let's take that in, that everything is pulsating by the same energy. We also light this virtual candle for the quality of beauty, which is defined as a personal expression in which high spiritual qualities are made manifest. That which we each are probably experiencing in this very moment as we open up to the higher vibrations of the divine. As well, we light this virtual candle for the quality of joy. It's that inner state that's the impetus of the emotion that's excited by the expectancy of good. In other words, it's what we feel when we realize that the power of the divine exists within us and its innate nature is good. Therefore, as we open up to it, it reveals itself. As well, we light this candle for all forms of light, the next quality. Light in metaphysics and even in traditional religions, oftentimes, is considered to be the symbol of universal intelligence. It's a symbol for the divine itself. The sixth candle is, or the same candle for the sixth quality, is lit for life, which is defined as the animating principle of being. It's that inner something that makes everything live and then expresses itself. As well as we light it for the quality of love. I speak of it often. And I love the Dr. Ernest Holmes' definition of love, which is the self-givingness of this power, spirit, through its desire of life to express itself. It does that through you and through me. We also light it for wisdom. That inner knowing that exists within each and every one of us, also known as intuition, the voice within. It's a celestial voice that exists within. And finally, we bring all of this together and look at this candle and its flickering flame as the healing candle. And as we look into this light, I invite us all to state aloud, if that feels safe for you, the name of someone, which may include yourself, that you'd like to have experience the healing energy of God's eternal love. James is now going to come on the screen and take us through our song, Calling in the Light, which is a call and response song. And I invite you to sing along and let it speak to you as an anchoring in of these qualities. James?
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love. Repeat after me. I am peace in my heart. I am free. I am spirit. I am soul. All together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light of love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
Every time you sing that song, it just resonates something in my soul,
Ah, me too. It's really
right?
is beautiful.
Yeah, it's such a evocative song itself. And then I think the cellular DNA that we all have from singing it over the years and feeling it is certainly invigorating and
Yes.
connected to our soul. And then to honor you. You sing it with such compassion and passion. So
Thank you. Yeah,
no,
I think
it's
it's so
sacred
cool.
to you.
It's so cool. It's whenever I get to those affirmations, those mantras in the middle. If I'm
Mhm.
feeling any sort of off for that day, it just kind of centers me every
Yeah,
time.
I agree. Well, let's give a big shout out and love to Bunny Hall for writing that song. So
Yeah.
fabulous. Yeah, wonderful. And you have another song for us that you're going to sing that is very special to me. I requested it just today. And you
Yes.
said that it speaks to you, and for many of us, we've all heard it before. But in preparing my message for today, it kept coming up for me, the song and the lyrics to it. So,
It's cool. Yeah, I was when you requested, I was kind of meditating on it, and in addition to being such a wholesome picture of unconditional love,
mhm.
also is such a reminder of that our relationship with the divine and the divine within ourselves can never be taken from us, no matter what obstacles, no matter what else is going
Right.
on. It's always there, time after
And
time.
it's there as the presence in the present, right? So,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yeah, yeah. If we can
Cool.
tap into that present,
Exactly, exactly. Well, it's titled Time After Time.
you might know it.
I did.
Lying in my bed, I hear the clock tick and I think of you. Caught up in circles, confusion is nothing new. Flashback, warm nights, almost left behind. Suitcase of memories. Time after, sometimes you picture me walking too far ahead, calling to me. I can't hear what you have said. Then you say, go slow. I fall behind. The second hand unwinds. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting. Time after time. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting. Time after time. After my picture fades, darkness has turned to gray. Watching through windows, wondering if I'm okay. Secrets stolen from deep inside. The drum beats out of time. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Yeah, time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting. Time after time. You say go slow, I fall behind. The second hand unwinds. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting. Time after time. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I will be waiting. Time after time.
So deeply touching. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you for honoring my request for the song.
It's such a good request. How could I not?
It is. It is. See you in a bit, James.
Sounds good.
I requested that song because I believe that it um, will tie and does tie into not only my message this morning, but a reminder for each of us if we listen to the lyrics as I have been doing, that the I that it speaks of, that I will catch you, is this infinite power of the divine that we speak of, that I speak of all the time in our teaching and our way of living here in our community. It's about that awareness, having the awareness that the presence is there. And when we put it in human language, that no matter what's going on in our life, it's there. And then it goes on to talk about the stuff that does show up in our life. And so today I want to continue addressing our theme for the month, which is freedom. Dr. Holmes tells us that real freedom means that the human is created in the image and perfection and let alone and allowed to make the discovery for themselves. That's what the lyrics to the song speaks of, is that continual discovery and rediscovery, that the power is always present there within us. It's waiting for us, and that it's waiting for us to give to it. Whether we do that consciously or unconsciously, we're always providing to it, giving to it, handing over to it. Holmes goes on to say that freedom of will means the ability to do, say, and think as one wishes, to express life as one personally desires. That is a result of us having that stamp of individuality being placed on us, that every facet of who we are as we express ourselves in life is different from how others have expressed themselves. It's supposed to be that way. We're made that way. He goes on to say, well, Jesus taught that in the quote, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." It's that awareness and acceptance of the truth that the power is infinite and always present there within us. Being infinite by nature and being impersonal by nature, which reminds us to remember that it is a non-judgmental power. It doesn't have that capacity or that trait. That alone in that moment should be a spiritual awakening for each and every one of us. I don't say that as in should be as a finger wagging, but just as an opportunity to, as I said it, I heard it differently for myself. And I now know that differently than I did before. It's that imprint into our consciousness that happens when we tune in vibratorily, is that the right word, in a vibratory manner to truth that exists within us. Holmes goes on to say that the understanding of truth, not just having it, but the understanding of truth, which is an ever evolving process, infinite principle, is the emancipator. It's that which frees us. We're bound by our very freedom, he says. Our free will binds us. The universe, being deductive only, cannot refuse us anything. The very force that makes us sick can heal us. As one realizes their oneness, the creative mind, then they are released from the bondage of false thinking. They too see that freedom means liberty, not license. Our free will is that which both binds us and frees us. What does that mean? It means that we have the ability through our free will to choose how we decide to use our power, to choose how to remember the power that is within us, to choose to use our minds in a way that is either fine-tuning and retuning or tuning into the frequency of the divine itself. It's hard to do in life oftentimes because it seems that life is moving faster. I was having a conversation with a client the other day, and we were talking about, oh my God, it's our meeting day again. It seemed like we just had that meeting a week ago, and it was a week ago. But the week seems to pass by so fast. And I said to them, how funny is it that I can remember my parent and my grandparents saying to me that the older you get, the faster it moves. And well, that's a crock, but it seems the case is so. I want to begin meaning continuing, to read from you an article written by a dear friend of mine that I haven't seen in a long time, and many of you may know her, Dr. Carol Carnes, that writes a daily blog called Living Consciously. She says, "Dear friends, everyone is talking about how fast time is passing. Even little kids are noticing how quickly the holidays seem to arrive again. Since time does not pass or move or actually exist as a thing apart from us, it can only be that our perception of time is changing. My theory," she writes, "is that we're having a conscious evolution experience. We're becoming more present in the now moment. Time seems to be rushing because it's becoming somewhat irrelevant. Instead of looking out into the faraway future, we're more engaged with the immediate moment. This might have something to do with the amount of information we take in every day. It used to be that a hot news item would be the topic of discussion for weeks. With our use of technology, it's replaced with a new bit of news in a matter of hours, sometimes even less. It may seem like a long time ago that we heard of a particular problem in another part of the world, when actually it was just last week. Spiritual masters have long advised us to stay in the moment, to keep our thoughts out of the past and only in the future if we are using our creative imagination for specific purposes, like visualizing a world of peace. I want you to hear that again, not just the world of peace part, but what the spiritual masters have been telling us. They've long advised us to stay in the moment, to keep our thoughts out of the past and keep them only in the future if we're using our creative imagination for specific purposes. They've cautioned us against missing the drop of dew on the leaf, the light in our child's eyes, the rainbow and the sunset. But more than appreciating the beauty of nature, they've warned us of the power of our consciousness and how the moment is the foundation for the next moment, which is then the foundation for the next moment. If we're filling our minds with dread and fear and regrets and resentments, we're misusing our very precious time, for which she, not I, being the king of acronyms, she writes this acronym for time: thoughts in motion evolve and then become our present moment of now. Let's think about that. Our thoughts in motion evolve. Can you imagine your thoughts being in motion while at the same time staying in the present moment? It's a way of using our freedom unlike ever before, to be present in the moment and while at the same time hearing the mantra: I am love, I am peace, I am power, I am beauty, I am light, I am joy. I believe that in living in this way of being present and then imagining the future in a specific purpose of revealing our divinity is indeed using this emancipator, the infinite principle, with intention and with faith. It's actually to consciously be living in spirit, or to be inspiring, as well as to be open to be inspired. We talked about, or I addressed in our opening ritual, that the power, this one power of life that we speak of, this consciousness that permeates all beings, we call spirit. And so as we live in spirit as a state of being inspiring or be inspired, it's tuning into the interconnectedness of all of life itself. To live in spirit. That's a very spiritually mature way to approach life, I believe. It's that ever evolving awareness and acceptance of who we are. It's that growing in life. It's just as the song says, that time after time, you may fall and I will catch you. No matter what you're doing, I'm there. We're taught that the key to spiritual maturity is to approach life's challenges from the inside out. This means that when whatever's going on, we turn inward into the power, the presence that's addressed in the song time after time. This requires us, if we turn inward, to quiet our mind and then listen to that inner voice of wisdom, also our intuition, and then make decisions accordingly, to stay present in that moment and feel the presence and then move forward with a great depth of faith, turning to the Spirit. Ernest Holmes says, the Spirit, the nature of this thing I speak of, out of prolific possibilities of itself, delivers to each of us individually and to all of us collectively as much of itself as we're able to accept. Today's the day that you and I, if we're willing to open ourselves up to it, accept more and more and more of it in different and more reflective ways. These spiritual awakenings that we speak of in our vision statement that creates opportunity for us to be more empowered is just as I spoke of a moment ago, is when I just had that moment of, yeah, this power. I get it. This power is in me in a different way. Yeah, I get that it's not only in me, but it's in all of us. It's those moments by moments by moments by moments that we have the opportunity to build this foundational state of being, a consciousness that is reflective of its divine nature, and in so doing, then create or co-create for ourselves a life that is reflective of this state of mind. It's to constantly be open, and then to be open, and then to be open to remembering who and what we are as the presence of the divine, and to just feel it. Eckhart Tolle tells us that it's important to remember this. You and I, the individualization of spirit itself, you're not in the universe. You are the universe, an intrinsic part of it. Ultimately, you're not a person, but a focal point where the universe is becoming conscious of itself. What an amazing miracle, he says. Imagine that as we tune into our moment by moment, by moment, and allowing ourselves to know that I am peace, I am power, I am presence, I am light, I'm love, I'm joy, I'm wisdom, that what's unfolding within us as that's happening is the universe itself is becoming more conscious of itself. And it's then emanating and radiating and vibrating out into not only the physical world in which we live in, but the world of energy that we're in. If we were to back that up enough, beep, 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 what that's telling us is that not only is it all interconnected, but that we have the capacity and the ability, which we know, let's just hear it anew, to impact the waves. Not the waves in the sea, but yes, but the waves of energy that's happening and taking place infinitely, universally. If today, and if you're joining this live or at some other point, today, let's say for this very moment, today, July 16th in the year 2023 is a measurement of time. We use that so that we can engage in this moment, but knowing that we're transcendent of that measurement that the human has created. But now that we're at a different moment on this day, if we would just be willing to choose to release any need to try to control this and let spirit actually run our life, we would then let this miracle that Tolle's talking about out, and would then be the vehicle for inspiration that I believe is called for all of us. Inspire. I love that word. It obviously comes from the word to live in spirit. Inspire means to excite, encourage, or breathe life into. It actually comes from the Latin word that means to inflame or to blow into. When you inspire something, it's as if you are blowing air over a low flame to make it grow. What if today you and I were to choose to let today be the day that we would blow life into our intentions? If we were to blow life into our willingness, if we were to blow life into our acceptance, to be in the moment, and to be in the moment, and then to be in the moment. I believe that takes courage because it requires us to not only be present, but to let go of any attachment to the past and to be willing to let go of being at all in the future unless the energy that we're placing in the future is with intention and with purpose for co-creating a future that is reflective of the thing we desire to experience and express in the very moment. Courage means to live from the heart. We've heard about courage before. We're taught in the Serenity Prayer that courage is a key to this awakening. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Courage. We so often think of it as being able to fight on the battlefields or to go out and engage in everyday life in a city such as Los Angeles or to beat an illness that we have within us. Let's look at it from a spiritual perspective, from a map of consciousness perspective. According to Dr. David Hawkins, the map of consciousness, which at its lowest level has shame and guilt and apathy and grief and fear, that's living from force. In other words, living from not allowing the divine power to be unencumbered as it expresses out through us. The highest point on this map of consciousness is enlightenment, peace and joy and love and reason and acceptance and willingness, all the things that we desire to experience and express. But the point at which it moves from fear to love, from force to power on this consciousness is at the point of courage. Courage is the defining moment on this measurement in the field of consciousness, whereby the individual moves from lack and limitation, moves from letting outside sources control them, moves from living in fear and pride and anger. It's the crucible by which one opens up and says, use me to the divine. It's that place where we, to the best of our ability, let go of the relational power of struggle and of doubt. And it's where we no longer live from the perspective of wanting to survive, but to thrive. It's from moving into that state of willingness and openness, of transcendence and forgiveness and optimism. Places I think we all desire to be. It's important for us to remember that on this journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, that the only way for us to get to that place, well, not the only way, the other way is through having taken a quantum leap in consciousness, but I think oftentimes that happens about as much as we win the lottery. But we do have the capacity and the possibility and the opportunity to build a consciousness whereby we live more in acceptance and neutrality and love and reason than we do in fear and doubt and pride and anger. We do that by consciously being open to this moment, this crucible, to this space where courage, living from the heart, guides us. Hawkins goes on to tell us that the doorway to divinity is located and available as a direct experience in the exact split second of now, which is discernible between two thoughts. Now, this sounds very microscopic, right? Very myopic. And yet, we have the ability to do it. Imagine if you and I were willing to access the now, surrender to the power itself, to have the courage to open up and let God use us. How different our life would be. Not judging what was, not getting overly zealous about what is to be, just by living in that moment of step by step, thought by thought, action by action, reaction by reaction, interaction by interaction. That requires being aware of ourselves, requires being aware of what's transpiring within us. It's by letting the outside be some sense of measurement, but constantly turning inward. A big charge, a big call, I get it. And yet, it is what is required of us on our journey if we desire to evolve consciously, as Dr. Carol Carnes spoke of in her writing. Dr. Hawkins goes on to tells us in this journey of spiritual awakening to remember this, that self-awareness is increased much more rapidly by observing feelings rather than thoughts. The thoughts associated with even one feeling may run in the thousands. Understanding the underlying emotion and its correct handling is more rewarding and less, here's the T word, time consuming. Almost antithetical to what we've learned in religious science for years. But they coexist. That he's telling us to move upwards in this scale of the map of consciousness, to evolve consciously in life, to tune into our awareness of self. That happens more quickly, that potential quantum leap, as we become more tuned into what we're feeling, as we tune as to what's stirring within us, understanding that as we tap into those feelings, that we can then use the power of our thoughts to move those. But we must be willing to surrender and listen and tune in to the thing itself. I want to share with you an article that was published that speaks to the concept of living in the moment. It's titled The Art of Now, 6 Steps to Living in the Moment. I'm not going to give you all 6, I don't think. But it goes on to say, not because I'm withholding, just it'll make sense when I share it with you. It begins by this. We live in the age of distraction, yet one of life's sharpest paradoxes is that your brightest future hinges on your ability to pay attention in the present. Goes on. A friend was walking in the desert when he found the telephone to God. The setting was Burning Man, an electronic arts and music festival for which 50,000 people descend on Black Rock City, Nevada, for 8 days of radical self-expression, dancing, socializing, meditating, and debauchery. A phone booth in the middle of the desert with a sign that said, "Talk to God," was a surreal sight even at Burning Man. The idea was that you picked up the phone and God, or someone claiming to be God, would be at the other end to ease your pain. So when God came on the line asking how he could help, my friend was ready. "How can I live more in the moment?" my friend asked. Too often he felt the beautiful moments of his life were drowned out by a cacophony of self-consciousness and anxiety. What could he do to hush the buzzing of his mind? Anyone relate? "Breathe," replied a soothing male voice. Obviously, for this purpose of the story, God is a man. My friend flinched at the tired New Age mantra, then reminded himself to keep an open mind, because when God talks, you listen. God continued, "Whenever you feel anxious about your future or your past, just breathe. Try it with me a few times. Let's all do it together. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Things shift, huh? This article goes on to tell us that it's important to remember that you, the individualized expression of the divine, You're not your thoughts. For life unfolds in the present. But so often we let the present slip away, allowing time to rush past unobserved and unseized and squandering the precious seconds of our lives as we worry about our future and ruminate about what's past. We're living in a world that contributes in a major way to mental fragmentation, disintegration, distraction, decoherence, says Buddhist scholar B. Alan Wallace. It seems we're always doing something and we allow little time to practice stillness and calm. Most of us don't undertake our thoughts in awareness. Rather, our thoughts control us. Ordinary thoughts course through our mind like a deafening waterfall, writes John Kabat-Zinn, the biomedical scientist who introduced meditation into mainstream medicine. In order to feel more control of our minds and our lives, to find the sense of balance that eludes us, we need to step out of this current, pause, and rest in stillness. To stop doing and focus on just being. The key to focusing on being stems in our willingness and our ability to surrender. Not out of active weakness, but through courage, an act of strength. I love this affirmation on surrendering by aimhappy.com. It says, I surrender. I'm learning to live between effort and surrender, to do my best and hope for what I want. But I do not resist the direction of the wind. Through surrender, I move from outer turmoil to inner peace. By letting go of expectations and outcomes, I transform a painful experience into an affirmative, fruitful endeavor. When fear gets the best of me, I surrender to love. When I release my resistance to love's presence, I'm able to receive what I need, what's trying to come into my life for my highest good. Today, I believe we're all called to this act of surrender so that we may open up to be in the moment, to open up to tune into our feelings between our thoughts, to let go of the past and only focus on the future from a co-creative perspective. And just like forgiveness, surrender is not a one-time act. It's a process. It's a gradual letting go of the small self into the big self, our divinity, moment by moment by moment. True surrender is the daily dying of our desires, our wants, our expectations, our grievances, and our attachments. True surrender requires an opening of the heart to the unknown. And so as we hear the clock tick, we lie in bed thinking of something. We get caught up in the circles and the confusion. It's nothing new. When we have suitcases of memories and we feel lost, we can indeed look and find the power because it's within us, time after time after time. But we don't find it in time. We find it within. And so today, as we open up to this commitment of surrendering to the power and the presence of that which is timeless, we know that through this ever-evolving tuning into its divine nature of peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom, that we not only have the opportunity, but we allow it to move us into a higher expression of itself. And I invite us all to do that to the best of our ability, moment by moment by moment by moment. And when we feel that we haven't risen to the occasion, we forgive ourselves and let go, surrender, and open again. I'd like to share with you a revised serenity prayer that I was shared with me, and I love it. And I think it's a great way for us to engage in this journey of our life. God, grant me the serenity to stop beating myself for not doing things perfectly, the courage to forgive myself because I'm working on doing better, and the wisdom to know that you already love me just the way I am. And so it is. Thank you, and have a beautiful, chill Sunday. James is going to come back and inspire us with another song.
When I'm alone and I contemplate changes in our gravity, I feel a lift, yeah, I levitate, challenge rationality. This is my favorite game, no single rule applies. Having my cake and eating some more on the side. If who's controlling me is back, open the pearly gates, come on out and dine with me. Now this is freedom, freedom, freedom from all things that hold you down and shake you up. All that crying that never stops. This is freedom, freedom, free from everything. The people that told you that we wouldn't do any this or that won't matter anymore. You feel alone, you feel different. Different is alright with me. This ain't black and white, no it never was. This color's never meant a thing. Now this is freedom, freedom, freedom from all things that hold you down and shake you up. All that grinding that never stops. This is freedom, freedom, free from everything. And the people that told you that you couldn't do any this or that won't matter anymore. They won't matter anymore. This is freedom. Yeah.
What a fantastic song.
Thank you.
Who wrote that song?
His name is Bernhoft. He's a Norwegian songwriter. Kind of
Wow.
obscure. One of my favorites, though.
Does he also perform the original?
Yes, he does.
Bernhoft.
Bernhoft.
Bernhoft. I love it. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, James, so happy to have you back. I don't know when we have you booked again, but I just always love sharing space and time with you.
That's what we did there. Agreed. It's a pleasure to be back. I think I'm back next month. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So, a big thank you to you. While we still have you, how about we let you take us through our conscious giving song? And for those of you that would like to support our community financially, know that it's completely welcome and honored and acknowledged. The ways to do that is to go to our website, CSL-LA.org, and click on donate. You can use the app in the App Store as well. And you can also mail in a check. Our address is 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, 90069. You can find all this information on our website, which is at CSL-LA.org, as well as our app. So let's all affirm and know that we are abundant beings living in an abundant universe, and that today is the day that we give with an open mind and an open heart. And because we live in a universe that is spiritually connected and is ruled by the law of abundance and cause and effect, that which we give returns to us multiplied abundantly. James is going to take us through that song. I invite you to sing along if you like, and affirm that we're in the flow.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my change my mind. The source will show me how. Love is my decision, right here, right now.
And so it is.
And so it is.
A reminder to each of you that we come together on Wednesday mornings at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Time's got me going this morning. 8:30 a.m. for our midweek morning meditation. I'd like to invite you to join us for that. All of that information can be found on our website or goes out on our weekly e-newsletter. You can sign up for that on our website, as well as a daily new thought text for the day goes out each morning at 7:30. That's a brief 320 character max moments of inspiration. So I invite you to sign up for that and share with your friends as well. And know that those are also put in an animated form and goes out through all of our social media sites as well. Our next in-person gathering is August 9th at our home at 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood. So just please know with me that I know for each and every one of you that where you are today is the perfect and right place, that you are the expression of the divine, doing all of its grandeur and magnificence and glory with every breath and with every action, with every reaction. You express it itself. Thank you to Travis Smith, to Robert Hensley, and to each one of you for being here today. Let's know that we are growing together as expressions of the divine, and we're revealing its perfection moment by moment. I know that it's a wonderful day for you as it is for me. I thank you all for being here. We're going to say au revoir to those that are joining us through YouTube, and those that are on Zoom. We can stay on and have a very brief hello, and then we'll all get to go about the business of our day expressing our divinity, being the agents of peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. And so